Through the bedroom door, I heard my wife's whisper. Just say it was a dream if he asks. Then silence. I waited until morning and asked about the noise last night. She blinked, smiled, and said, "What noise?" But when I checked the security camera, there was no footage between 2:13 and 2:41 a.m. At first, I genuinely thought I was dreaming. It was 2-something in the morning, I hadn't slept well in days, and I was on the edge of consciousness. But I know what I heard. It wasn't the kind of thing you forget. My name's Jake. I'm 32. I work in IT security, and sometimes that means long hours and late nights behind multiple monitors. So trust me when I say I know the difference between dreams and reality. And what I heard, that wasn't in my head. It wasn't a hallucination. It was real. And it was my wife's voice. Claire, 29, former music teacher. Now she freelances graphic design from home, and, by all outward appearances, she's the perfect wife. Funny, kind, charming when she wants to be. We've been married 5 years, and most of those years I would have said we were solid. Until about 6 months ago. That's when something shifted. It's hard to explain. She became more distant. Harder to read. Shorter replies. More time on her phone. Fewer laughs. We'd gone through rough patches before. Everyone does. But this felt different. There was this disconnect I couldn't quite place. I brushed it off. Work stress, maybe. Hormonal? Seasonal depression? But last week, I started noticing things I couldn't ignore. She started taking her phone everywhere. Not just to the bathroom, into the shower. Face down. Locked. Notifications silenced. She even changed her lock screen passcode, which she hadn't done in years. That was already bad enough. But what happened 2 nights ago flipped a switch in my brain I haven't been able to shut off since. It started around 2 a.m. I was half asleep when I heard footsteps, soft ones, like someone trying not to make a sound. Then came the whisper. Just say it was a dream if he asks. Followed by nothing. No reply. No additional footsteps. Just the low hum of our AC and my pulse in my ears. I lay there, completely still, listening. There was a faint creak, like someone moving back across the hardwood floor in the hallway outside our room. I didn't get up. I waited. I told myself, maybe she's on the phone. Maybe she was talking in her sleep. But I couldn't shake it. So in the morning, I played dumb. Waited until we were both in the kitchen, sipping coffee like it was a normal day. Then I casually asked, "Hey, did you hear anything weird last night? Like voices or something?" She blinked, then smiled. "What noise?" she said, totally unfazed. That's when my stomach dropped. Not because she lied, plenty of people lie, but because she did it so effortlessly. No hesitation. No raised eyebrows. No confusion. She delivered that line like she was reading it off a damn script. I laughed it off, pretended I was just half asleep, and maybe it was the TV or something. But the second she left the room, I checked the Nest app on my phone. We've got a smart security system installed throughout the house. Nothing over the top, just hallway and entryway coverage, all motion activated. I pulled up the timeline and saw a movement logged at 2:13 a.m. in the hallway outside our room. But when I tapped to view the clip, nothing. Playback unavailable. Footage not found. I tried the next clip, 2:41 a.m. entry recorded. Again, nothing. Between 2:13 and 2:41, the camera had no footage. It had been manually disabled. Let that sink in. Someone, inside the house, turned off the camera between 2:13 and 2:41 a.m., then re-enabled it, which is only possible from either my phone or Claire's tablet. I didn't panic. Not yet. I just sat there at the kitchen table, phone in hand, staring at that blank timeline window like it was mocking me. My wife came back in and kissed me on the head, humming some random tune like it was any other day. I kept playing it cool, but my mind was racing. Why would she need to delete camera footage? What was she hiding at 2:13 in the morning? And who the hell was she talking to? That's when something else hit me. A tiny detail I almost forgot. When I heard her whisper, "Just say it was a dream," I also noticed a flicker of shadow under the door frame. Like someone shifting their weight, just out of view. Like there was someone with her. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. I needed answers. And I wasn't going to ask her. Not yet. Instead, I started digging. Quietly. Methodically. The same way I tracked down a data breach. Only this time, the breach was in my home. And the thing about people who hide things? They always leave breadcrumbs. I just had to follow them. I told myself I wouldn't snoop. That I'd wait for some kind of reasonable explanation. That maybe, just maybe, there was a technical glitch or she was doing something innocent. Maybe she'd surprise me with something late at night and didn't want me seeing it on the camera. But by night 3, that fantasy was dead. Claire had changed. Not in the big, obvious ways. She still kissed me goodnight, still made jokes, still made coffee in the morning like always. But it was too polished. Too curated. Like she was playing a version of herself. A highlight reel. And I noticed things she probably thought I never would. For one, her phone was never left unattended anymore. Not even in the bathroom while she brushed her teeth. That was new. And another thing, her tablet, which she used mostly for art commissions, suddenly needed a passcode. It never had one before. I only knew because I tried to check the security app from it and was greeted with a lock screen. That's when I stopped waiting for her to tell the truth and started looking for it myself. I knew better than to go after her main devices. People hide things better now. We've got 2 laptops, 2 phones, a smart TV, a tablet, all password protected. No easy access. But sometimes, the stuff that matters isn't locked behind passwords. It's just hidden in plain sight. And that's exactly where I found it. It was raining that morning. She'd gone to run errands, and I was home alone. I walked into the guest room to get a box of old receipts I needed for taxes. Claire keeps all her junk in there. Art supplies, storage bins, unopened Amazon boxes. That's when I spotted the violin case. She hadn't played in years. I knew because it used to be her favorite thing. She hadn't touched it since her dad passed. It sat at the back of the closet like a museum piece, untouched, or so I thought. But it wasn't dusty. That's what got me. I pulled the case out. It felt too light. Opened it slowly. Inside, instead of a violin, was a black hoodie neatly folded and a phone. A second phone. Not hers. Not mine. No case, just a cheap burner model with a cracked corner and a charger tucked underneath it like someone had packed it with care. I stared at it for maybe a full minute. I didn't know whether to touch it, turn it on, or just pretend I'd never seen it. Eventually, curiosity beat anxiety. I hit the power button. It buzzed awake. No password. Just opened straight to the home screen. And the wallpaper? A photo. Blurry. A guy's tattooed arm resting across a wooden table. You couldn't see his face, but you could see the edge of Claire's coffee mug on the table. The mug I got her last Christmas. There were only a few apps on the screen. No email. No social media. Just messages and a calculator app, which, fun fact, is often used to hide photo vaults. I'd seen it used before in investigations. But it was the text that made my stomach tighten. A notification at the top. Jaden, work, you up? Timestamp, 2:08 a.m., 2 nights ago. I opened the conversation. Jaden, he asleep? Claire, yeah, 30 minutes tops. Jaden, did you wipe the feed? Claire, deleted the window. He won't know. Jaden, you're a ghost. Claire, say it was a dream if he asks. I had to sit down. Everything stopped making sense, while making perfect sense at the same time. She was deleting camera footage. She had someone in our house. She was coordinating it. And now it had a name. Jaden. Work. She saved his contact as work. As if that somehow justified sneaking around at 2 in the morning while I slept 20 feet away. But the part that rattled me most? It wasn't the betrayal. Not yet. It was how calmly she said it. How confident. Like this wasn't new. Like this was routine. Like lying came easy now. I took pictures of everything. Every screen. Every text. Every angle. I didn't move the phone, didn't delete anything, didn't even power it off. Just put it back exactly as I found it. Slid the hoodie back over it. Closed the violin case. Shoved it into the closet like I'd never seen it. Then I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall. My wife wasn't just hiding something. She was planning something. She had steps, codes, protocols, contingencies. And worst of all, she thought I was too stupid or too in love to ever figure it out. She thought I'd ask her about the noise, she'd smile and lie, and I'd just nod and let it go. And maybe I would have, if not for the camera. But now I was wide awake. I needed to know everything. Who Jaden really was. Why he was in my house. How many times this happened. And what Claire was really preparing for. I didn't touch the burner phone again. I couldn't. It felt radioactive, like if I breathed too close, the whole house would explode. But I took the photos. Every single message. The timestamp. The contact name. The wallpaper with that tattooed arm. The hoodie in the case. All of it. And after that night, I started seeing everything differently. Claire would laugh at my jokes. Smile when she passed me in the hallway. But there was something off in her eyes, like a quiet calculation running behind the scenes. Her attention felt hollow. Like she was performing affection instead of feeling it. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because now, I had a new question. How long had this been going on? If I'd caught one night of it by pure accident, that meant there might have been more. And there was only one system in our house that could tell me the truth. The Nest Home security logs. Our hallway cam is synced to a cloud-based server through Nest Aware, which logs every event. And I remembered something specific. The device history includes all admin logins. It doesn't just show when the camera is triggered. It also shows when the system is manually disabled. Even if the footage is erased, the log still records the action. So I dug into the event history. And there it was. 3 different nights in the last 2 months. Each around 2 to 3 a.m. Each showing manual deactivation followed by reactivation. And on each of those nights, Claire had either gone to bed after me, or woken up to use the bathroom. I needed confirmation. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I called tech support. I didn't give them much, just asked if I could review extended logs or get help retrieving deleted footage from a professional. I expected the usual runaround. But the guy I got on the phone, his name was Seth. He was too chatty for someone in IT, but I let him talk. After a few minutes, he asked, "Do you want to restore it all from a local backup or just pull the access history? Someone named Claire authorized the last camera disable. Are you trying to reverse it?" I froze. He said her name before I mentioned it. "Wait, what did you say?" I asked. "Oh, the person who made the last changes, Claire. That's the name on the subadmin profile. So she disabled the camera?" "Yeah, looks like it. 3 times, actually. Last one was 2 nights ago. Do you want me to send the log file?" I told him yes. Gave him my email. Hung up. Then sat in silence. She'd used her tablet to disable the hallway cam multiple times. She had subadmin access. Something I'd set up for convenience back when we first installed it so she could watch for package thieves when I wasn't home. And now she was using it to sneak someone into our home. My home. Right under my nose. That same night, I pretended to be asleep again. Claire came to bed late, around 1:30 a.m., and her phone was buzzing under her pillow. I cracked one eye just enough to watch her tap it, read something, and type. I couldn't see what. I didn't need to. I waited until her breathing slowed and she slipped into sleep. Then I slipped out of bed and quietly walked to the kitchen. I sat at the table in the dark, opened the camera app, and pulled up the most recent log. And sure enough, at exactly 1:44 a.m., the hallway camera had gone offline again. This time, it lasted 10 minutes. No footage. No alerts. No nothing. And I knew he'd been here again. Just like before. I started writing everything down. Every log time. Every text message I had screenshots of. Every time she changed her behavior. I had 2 years of security logs in my Nest account, and I was ready to dig through every minute if that's what it took. But that wasn't the most terrifying part. That came the next morning. Claire sat at the dining table, sipping coffee, legs folded under her like she didn't have a care in the world. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're looking tired lately. Are you okay?" I blinked. "Just not sleeping great," I said. She smiled, stirred her coffee. "Maybe you're dreaming too much." It wasn't a random comment. It was a test. A threat dressed like casual conversation. She remembered what she said through the door that night. She knew what she'd told him. Say it was a dream if he asks. And now she was planting doubt again. Trying to keep the illusion going. Like gaslighting was just part of the morning routine now. I realized something in that moment. I wasn't just being cheated on. I was being erased. Bit by bit, night by night. From the footage. From the truth. From my own damn marriage. And Claire? She was getting really good at it. There's a particular kind of quiet that creeps in when you realize your partner, your wife, is living a life inside your life. It's like standing in your own living room and feeling like an intruder. Every day after I found that second phone, I played my role. I smiled when she smiled. I laughed when she joked. I laid beside her at night like we were still us. But inside, I was peeling back the layers of a version of Claire I never knew existed. The gaslighting didn't stop. It evolved. She started bringing me coffee every morning again. She even suggested a spontaneous weekend trip, just us, to rekindle what she called the spark. Meanwhile, the Nest log kept registering late-night camera deactivations, always just long enough for something to happen. Then nothing. I didn't bite. I didn't ask questions. Not directly. Instead, I decided to test her, softly. The kind of test you set when you already know the answer, but want to see what flavor of lie you'll be fed. We were sitting on the couch watching some throwaway sitcom. She was leaning into me like old times, legs over mine, blanket over both of us. I waited until a commercial, muted the TV, and casually said, "You ever talk in your sleep?" She shifted slightly. Not enough for the average person to notice, but I did. Just the tiniest muscle tension in her thigh, the way her fingers paused on the blanket. "Me?" she said. "Too light, too rehearsed." "Probably." "Why?" I shrugged. "Other night I thought I heard you whisper something. Something weird. Like, just say it was a dream if he asks." Sounded like you were talking to someone. Claire froze for half a second. Then, as if she'd practiced it. "That does sound like a dream. What was I wearing?" she laughed. That line. That was the moment. Right there. Because no one ever says that. What was I wearing? It wasn't casual curiosity. It was control. A redirect. A move to trap me in my own uncertainty. If I fumbled the answer, if I hesitated or made something up, she'd label the whole thing a fabrication. A trick she'd already used before. I smiled. "No idea," I said. Like I said, maybe it was a dream. She watched me carefully, and I could tell. She wasn't sure how much I knew. She was dancing on the edge of exposure, still trying to find her balance. But I was done playing on her stage. That night, while Claire took her lavender bath ritual An hour-long production she did every Wednesday. I stepped outside to take the trash out. That's when I ran into our neighbor, Mrs. Lennox. Early 60s. Sweet woman. Has a little terrier. She walks religiously at 2 a.m. because her insomnia is worse than mine. She waved at me from the sidewalk and said, casually, "You know your buddy came by again the other night?" I stopped cold. "My buddy. The one in the red hoodie," she said, nodding toward our side gate. "He parked across the street this time. Came in real quick, left maybe 15 minutes later." I blinked. Tried to keep my voice level. "When was this?" "Oh, 2 nights ago. I almost didn't see him, but you know me. I notice everything." I laughed. Tried to make it seem casual. "What time was that, you think?" "Little before 2:30, I'd say. I was on my second loop with Benny." She looked around. "Claire didn't tell you?" "No," I said. Must have slipped her mind. She just nodded and kept walking, dragging her tiny terrier into the darkness. I stood there, alone, holding a bag of trash, realizing that someone, a stranger, had come into my house again while I was asleep next to my wife. And she had the nerve to ask what she was wearing. That was it for me. I couldn't unhear the whisper. I couldn't unread the texts. I couldn't ignore the deactivated camera logs, or the second phone, or the gaslighting, or the neighbor with the red hoodie timestamps. The dream was over. But Claire? She had no idea I was awake now. After talking to Mrs. Lennox, I couldn't focus. Not on work, not on conversations, not even on pretending anymore. My whole world felt staged. Like every movement Claire made was part of a rehearsed act for my benefit. But now, I had a direction. A name. A detail. Red hoodie. 2:30 a.m. side gate. She had seen him, and I knew she wasn't hallucinating. So I did what any IT guy with a slowly crumbling marriage and too many unanswered questions would do. I knocked on Mrs. Lennox's door the next morning, holding a bag of blueberry muffins from the corner bakery. She answered in her robe, surprised. "Jake? Everything all right?" "Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask if your security camera picks up anything across the street. The side of our place, maybe?" "The one above the garage?" She nodded. "It catches half your driveway." "What?" I hesitated, then just laid it out. "I think someone's been coming around. Claire hasn't said anything, but, just in case." She raised her eyebrows and, to her credit, didn't pry. Instead, she opened the door wider and gestured for me to come in. 10 minutes later, we were watching black and white clips from 2 nights ago on her old desktop. The quality wasn't amazing, but clear enough. There he was. 2:26 a.m. A man in a red hoodie stepped out of a car across the street, walked straight to my side gate, looked over his shoulder once, and slipped inside. Smooth. Like he'd done it before. No hesitation. No knock. No call. No surprise. I stared at the screen, jaw tight, trying to slow my pulse. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't paranoia. It was planned, coordinated, normalized. Claire had someone on rotation. "Do you recognize him?" Mrs. Lennox asked, voice careful. I shook my head. The hoodie hid his face too well. All I could make out was that he was tall, lean, maybe late 20s or early 30s. Wore dark jeans and sneakers with a white logo. "Can I get a copy of this?" I asked. She nodded, plugged in a flash drive. She didn't ask more questions. Just said, "If it were me, I'd be watching your exits now too." I left with the footage. And that night, I didn't sleep. Again, I lay in bed beside Claire, watching her scroll her phone until she rolled away, whispering something into her pillow before plugging it into charge. I waited. Then I got up, pulled the flash drive from my jacket, plugged it into my laptop, and froze the frame on the exact moment hoodie guy stepped through my gate. And that's when I saw it. Just barely, in the corner of the frame. The back door opening. Not a creak. Not a surprise. Not a confrontation. Claire opened the door for him. She was already there, waiting. She held it open like she'd done it 100 times. And as he slipped inside, she smiled. It wasn't the awkward, nervous smile of someone doing something wrong. It was familiarity. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't spontaneous. This was a routine. I sat in the dark, laptop glowing in my lap, watching the loop over and over. And then I realized something that made my blood go cold. Jaden didn't knock. Because he didn't have to. She knew exactly when he was coming. They'd planned it. Texted about it. He'd parked around the corner. Wore a hoodie. Came in through the side. Left no prints. Slipped out before morning. She covered her tracks. Erased the footage. Except this time. I had the copy. And I wasn't the only one who would see it. I didn't explode. I didn't yell. I didn't even wake her up. Because what do you do when you realize the person you love has turned your life into a crime scene with no fingerprints? You don't flip the table. You don't start screaming. You go quiet. And you start thinking like them. That night, I sat alone in the kitchen until the sun came up. Claire woke up around 9 o'clock, rubbing her eyes, hair tangled, yawning like she hadn't been helping her secret lover sneak in through our back door 6 hours earlier. You were up early, she said, pouring herself orange juice. Yeah, just thinking, I answered. She watched me, tilted her head. About anything good? I shrugged. Dreams. She smiled. But this time, it was tight, guarded. She knew something was off. I could feel it in her pause, the little stutter in her body language, like a dancer who suddenly hears the wrong song. And I leaned into that silence. I let her wonder, let her spiral. I went about my day like normal, except every move I made was now part of my own plan. Step 1, I backed up everything. The Nest logs, the missing camera footage timestamps, screenshots of the messages between her and Jaden, work. The footage from Mrs. Lennox's camera, the clip of the man in the red hoodie entering my home, the text where she said, say it was a dream if he asks. I created a folder, zipped it, and renamed it Contract Renewal Confidential. Then I uploaded it to Google Drive and copied the link. Step 2. I scheduled a text to go out at 12:30 p.m. sharp, the exact time Claire would be out getting her nails done. I sent it to 4 people. Her sister, who had always defended her. Her mom, who loved me like a second son. Her boss, who, if he had any brain cells, should see what she was doing during work hours. And Claire herself. The message said this. If I ever ask, just say it was a dream. J. Google Drive link. Step 3. I packed. Not everything. Just the essentials. A bag of clothes, my laptop, my documents, and the flash drive copy of everything I collected. I left the rest. I wanted her to come home and feel the absence. On the kitchen counter, I left a short note. I didn't break this. I just stopped pretending you didn't. P.S. Check your phone. Might want to call your mom. Or Jaden. Or whoever you're really with. I was halfway across town when the calls started coming in. Missed calls. Texts. One voicemail, just her crying. Hysterical. Blaming me for humiliating her. Saying I misunderstood everything. Her sister just texted. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Her boss didn't respond. But her profile on the company website disappeared the next morning. Over the next few days, I stayed quiet. Claire sent me walls of messages, shifting between panic, guilt, and desperation. She tried to call it a mistake. She said she was lost. She told me she never meant to hurt me. But I didn't reply. Not once. Not because I was being cruel, but because I knew the one thing she feared most wasn't punishment. It wasn't exposure. It was being ignored. I'd stopped playing, and she didn't know the rules anymore. The last message I ever sent her was one line. You were the dream. I just finally woke up. And I never, ever sleep with the cameras off. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.